Hey guys, it's Daniel's son. Welcome back to the channel. Right behind me, I have a 1994 Ferrari 456 GT. Now, this is no regular 456. This is the one from Car Trek 4. And if you guys haven't seen the series, go ahead and check it out. It's very entertaining in my opinion. Now, I am very excited, okay? I'm very excited to be working on this thing. Now, why is this car here? So this car is Hoovie's Garage 456. You know, it's a Car Trek 4, all that stuff. And he sold it recently to Dan from Normal Guy Supercar. And they road tripped the car there, and I guess not much after, the car overheated. Now, they thought it was that holes in the middle. These typically fail, but they went in there and it's like, no leaks. So they started to inspect further, and they found coolant in the cylinders. They pulled some spark plugs. They saw, put a little camera down there, found coolant. We're going to be doing the same thing just to confirm. Now, Hoovie heard this, and he decided to act on it. He was like, hey, I'll buy the car back. I'll deal with it. Now, he also came to me. I was like, hey, man, if I buy this car back, would you work on it? I was like, I will tear it completely apart if you want me to. Now, obviously, from Dan finding loose bolts in the intake and a few other things, and from me, when I actually started working here, this is one of the first cars that I worked on. It had a misfire. These spark plugs were actually loose. Okay, so I retorqued them, and I talked to Dan about it. It's like, they weren't really loose. They were torqued. It's just they torqued like 15 Newton meters, which is nothing. But yeah, other stuff has been loose on this car, and at this point, we are worried. This car was rebuilt in Abu Dhabi, and from what I see, nobody really trusts the builder at this point. Now, that's the reason we are going to remove this engine out of this car and just take a look at everything, because we don't want to do a head gasket and then suddenly a cap from a connecting rod just flies off and destroys the engine after all that work. You know, this is a nice car. It's a good engine. It's a good car. It's iconic at this point because a lot of people know the car, and we're just going to go ahead and take our time and make sure this car is right, because we just don't want it to blow up. I did ask people in the Ferrari community, people that I know that have worked on these cars, that have been in this industry for, 20, 30 years. They've been working on these cars, and they told me that it's not terrible, but you do have to remove the rear bumper. You have to slide the transmission back with the torque tube to be able to get the engine out the front, which that doesn't sound very fun, but they assured me that it's definitely doable. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to start at the back and then work our way to the front. Now, before we do that, we're going to be inspecting under here, make sure there's coolant in the cylinders, which I'm pretty sure there is. And we're going to go ahead and take a few things apart in the front just to clean it up and see what we're working with, and see if we need to order some parts ahead of time. Now, I got my work cut out for me because I got to get this engine out quick because Hoovie wants to film it. And I want to make sure he has the content for it, okay? So let's get started. So now, as you can see, this hood is massive, okay? But it's made out of a lighter composite material, not sure. I don't think it's fiberglass, but I have no idea. Now, I do know it's very expensive. One of my guys told me a story that, they had to quote one, and I think it was like 30 or 40 grand for one of these hoods back in the day. I have no idea what they are now. I'm pretty sure they're not even available. But yeah, I don't think we're going to have to remove it to remove the engine. As you can see, it has a pretty wide angle, and we can actually go a little bit further. It's just the shocks are not the greatest, but we're just going to go ahead and put something to clamp the shocks to keep it as open as possible, give ourselves plenty of room. Now, I'm also going to need a light so we can actually see what we're working on, so I'm going to be putting that on here in a minute, okay? I'm just going to start and take off all the spark plugs and individually look at every cylinder and see how much coolant we're dealing with here. Also, if I have to turn the engine for some reason, the spark plugs needs to be out, because if the cylinders are full with coolant, it's not going to turn, okay? I'm not going to be able to turn it by hand because water's not going to compress, okay? Okay, so right here I have a little special tool for Ferrari, and you use it more on like 355s because the boot for the spark plug wire is a little bit recessed. It's kind of hard to reach, so you use this little guy right here to grab them. Now, also, it's nice for these because you don't have to use, let's say, like these plastic pliers and stuff like that. It might rip the boot. This will just kind of go in there and you can pull it out. So if you see right there, and then the shape of the top of the boot, it basically just slides in there. And you got a little T-handle to pull it off. I'm pulling out the spark plug boots right here. You can see that they all go into this rail right here. Now, this is all one piece, right? So we're going to take these little 4 screws off, and it actually goes all the way down here. So one piece, one harness, and then we just unplug it. I want to show you basically the tightness of these spark plugs. And yeah, I got sidetracked kind of removing, hoses here and there. Nothing major, just to kind of get them out of the way so I don't lean on them and break them. Now, right here, as you can see, this is a stubby 3/8, right on there, and it really doesn't take much. But again, these are torqued. They're just torqued to like 15 Newton meters, which is nothing. Okay. Oh. Uh-oh. Well, right there. Let's see if I can kind of shake it. Yep, that's water. Cylinder number 2. Cylinder number 3. Cylinder 4. Just a little bit. Okay, so as you see, guys, it's a bad head gasket, unfortunately. So we are going to proceed and, take the engine out. But now we're going to be draining all the fluids, starting with the engine oil and then coolant. And that's it pretty much. Okay, so we got the car up. And as you can see, that hood is pretty high up there. I was kind of seeing if it was going to touch the roof, but pretty far off. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but right here, for some reason, Ferrari has 2 oil filters. I'm guessing because it maybe needed that much capacity, but didn't want to hang the filters too low. So they decided to kind of split it off into 2 filters to make it a little bit low profile. Now, we got the oil drain right there. And then the coolant somewhere up there. We're going to probably just take this little undersheet to access the coolant, drain it out. But as you can see, we're also going to be taking the exhaust off, which we recently did an exhaust, which hopefully the cats are fine, especially on this side. Because if I remember correctly, they said something about it having a little bit of rust in the back there. This is one of those times where I get to use the big wrench. People ask me, what do you need those for? It's like, actually for these. On Testarossas and the V12, they use these big lines, and these usually work great. I wonder how much oil is still in here. Yes. Now from what I see, I closed the valve so the oil will stay up here so I can kind of look at it. But it doesn't look milky, even though it kind of looks on camera, but it's not. It doesn't, there's no coolant or anything in it. You can see there's no separation of like oil and coolant in this. Okay, I forgot to tell you guys that there's an oil tank. And again, I checked it and it looked okay. There's no coolant or anything in there. Now we get to do my my least favorite part, which is draining coolant. We got a drain right there, which I already broke it loose just to make sure. And then there's the one that I hate the most, and it's the one up there. That little guy right there. That's the block drain. Unfortunately for the other side, we can't get to it, and between you and I stripped it. So I'm gonna have to take care of that whenever the engine's out. So I'm gonna take out the side plug, the messy one. We'll see if we can catch most of it, and I won't get my mic wet or anything. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, that was pretty painless. So, unfortunately, sometimes I'm too good of an instruction follower, and based on what they told me, I decided to remove the bumper without even actually looking. And as you can see, transmission, and all the way over here is the bumper. Obviously, none of that stuff in the middle comes out. So even if I took the bumper off, there's no way that I'm gonna go past that cross member, or right there where I think the spare goes in there in this car. I'm not quite sure. Some cars have compartments, but they're not big enough for a spare. But this compartment it is, pretty sure. But as you can see, I do have a fair bit of room to move back. So I think that's about, I would say, 8 inches roughly. So I'm pretty sure after I take all this exhaust off, I'm pretty sure that'll be enough to split it right here. So I can move about, 8 inches, and I should be able to basically go up, tilt, and out with the engine. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna stop working on the bumper. At least I didn't waste a lot of time because maybe I didn't have to take them off first. Maybe I did waste a lot of time, but whatever. We're just gonna move on and keep on chugging, okay? So we have a little bit of coolant here on the floor dripping from the exhaust, the cat actually. So these are brand new cats. Let's see, I got a light. Let's look in there. Look at that. That's where all the coolant went. Okay, so the exhaust is off. We're back up here. And this time what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna see how many bolts I can get from the headers up top. And then, you know, take all the, air injection system, the secondary air injection. I'll take those pipes off and stuff like that. And then put a little bit of WD-40 so it's not stuck or anything like that, because I'm pretty sure nobody has touched those since the rebuild. And then I'm gonna take all these plastics, alternator, all that stuff, just to kind of shrink the engine a little bit more, to have more room to move back and forth as we're coming out. So now, basically, I just gotta make sure that all the wires are disconnected. So it looks like a lot of these are just plugged into the alternator and stuff like that, pressure sensor. I just gotta unplug all those, take those nuts off, and then pull the harness off the block. And then basically back here, same thing, except for these. These I don't have to take them off. I just loosen them so I can go around the bell housing bolts and get those out. I might even take these off just to get them out of the way. I don't wanna break them. And then, yeah, take all the bell housing bolts and pull the harness back. I still have to check up top and see what's attached and what's not. In front here, there's a hose right there. Haven't taken it off because there's probably coolant in it. I'm not sure. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. Just kind of get the harness. The more I look at it, I don't think I'm going to have to mess with the transmission. So, you know, maybe it makes it easier. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and separate the engine from the bell housing, since I got a little bit of room. Okay, so we're basically ready to pull the engine out. Now it looks like I didn't have to, move the transmission back or even take the bumper. I'm starting to question the advice I was given. But again, you know, hopefully Michael is not mad at me for making him help me remove that bumper on Friday. And we didn't even need to. So anyways, we're just gonna go ahead and try to remove this engine. Everything's already, I got the cherry picker installed with the adapter, and then I already separated back there. I got a jack underneath here to basically hold the torque tube when we pull it out. And then I got the mounts already off right there. I don't know if you can kind of see them. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. We're gonna try to pull it out and be very, very careful, okay? Okay guys, so the engine's out, and in all honesty, it was a pain. It's really my fault. I should have taken the compressor out and also just moved that tunnel. you know, maybe pushed it back just to give ourselves some room because there's a cross member right there that would not let us get the engine out. Luckily, we were able to pop it out, but when we go in, I'm gonna take more stuff off to make it easier. But now, in this video, we are not gonna be taking the heads off. And the reason being is that Tyler wants to film that, okay? So we're gonna save that for his video, and he's probably gonna be here sometime this week or the next one to actually film that. We're gonna have those off for him. Now, my video, the next video is gonna continue after that, and we'll just kind of put the engine back together at that point. Now, make sure you check out his video and you see that, you know, the heads are gonna be off and what the damage is. Now, there is a possibility of a bent connecting rod. I haven't talked to Hoovie about this or Wizard, but when the engine, the head gasket blew and there was coolant inside the cylinders, they still kept driving the car. They kind of limped it home. So I think there's a possibility of a bent connecting rod, so I'm going to be checking on that. Hopefully that's not the case, because this will turn into a whole ordeal. Now, I got a few updates. So the first update is on the Santa Fe. That crank sensor fixed the problem, so that thing is working 100%. And then the control arms finally cured that squeaky mattress noise that was driving me crazy, okay? Now, there are some other things that I need to fix on it. I might not record them because I'm really not interested in that car that much, but we'll see, in all honesty. Now, the big update is the Audi. I'm still waiting on the head, unfortunately. We're just waiting on some valve guides, and hopefully they should be here soon, and we'll be able to put that back together. And you guys are not going to believe what I'm going to do with the Audi and the Santa Fe, okay, to be able to get rid of them both, okay? So that'll be awesome. Now, there's one more update, and this is the one that I'm really excited about, but unfortunately, I cannot make the video right now. It's going to be pushed to the back burner for a while, and that is the secret engine that I got in the back, okay? So obviously, this came up, and I just jumped on it because, you know, Ferrari, okay? I'm not going to pass up an opportunity like this. Now, it'll definitely be coming in the future. It's just that one takes a lot of money and a lot of planning and stuff like that, but it's definitely something that I'm excited about, so definitely stay tuned. That video will be coming. Now, I'm going to close out the video right here, and I would really appreciate you guys if you subscribe, you like the video, go ahead and leave comments, share with anybody who might like this stuff, and, you know, again, thanks for watching.